Well, good morning. Apologies for the delay. I do not know why, but for some reason my screen, which I'm just going to go over here to, stopped counting down. So there's me thinking, oh, everything's fine, and I've got loads of time. I was looking at the clock going, I've got 2 minutes. I haven't got 2 minutes, so I do apologise for the delay. I am here, and we're ready to learn some maths. Thank you for those people who've stuck around. If you've already run away, oh, I feel stupid, but this is what live streaming is all about. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong if you are Mr. Harris. So, we are today going to talk about algebra. We're going to sort out these people who think, oh, I can't do algebra. Not having it. I am going to look straight into the camera and I want to say to people, algebra is not something you can either do or you can't do. It is a big topic with lots of little bits inside it. And you learn each bit separately. You don't learn algebra, you learn a bit of algebra. So we're going to learn today simplifying expressions. There is no such thing as I can't do algebra, and there's no point saying it. It's a bit like saying I don't like food. Food is a huge topic. You could say I don't like eggs. I don't personally like eggs. But you can't say I don't like food because it's a whole big thing with lots of the foods inside it. Same with algebra. It's a whole big thing with lots of stuff inside it. So today we're going to break down some of the barriers. We're going to try and make it so that we can make sure everyone understands it and knows why we're using it, and we're going to try and simplify some expressions. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. I'm guessing you are one of two people. You are either super confident with your algebra, in which case today's going to be revision, or you hate algebra, I can't do it, and maybe you're a mum who's tuning in to try and help the parents. Maybe you're a mum or dad who's sitting at home going, I need to help with the homework. Maybe you're a carer who's sitting going, I need to help. Maybe you're a big brother or sister trying, I could do with watching that. That's absolutely fine. We are year 5 up to year 9s. Hopefully there's some year 9s and 8s here as well. We're going to fix all that, make sure we can do it, and hopefully understand why. So before we start anything, we need to warm up. That's what I do first. Here is a ranking starter. We did a ranking starter yesterday. So what you have to do is decide, and are these 4 things, what do you think is best and worst, but you must tell me what your measure is. Because this is Wi-Fi, headphones, camera and printer. Now if you go heaviest, then from lightest to heaviest, headphones is first, then Wi-Fi, then camera, then camera, then Wi-Fi, maybe between those, then printer would be the heaviest. But you've got to choose what you're ranking with. There's all sorts of ways of doing it. Please feel free to put it in the comments. That's how it's interactive. I'm going to say some good mornings to the people who've been very patiently sitting around. I was live, just not very good. Okay, so. Good morning, Willow. Good morning, Amber. Good morning, Thayal. Good morning, Rashan. Good morning, Sharanya. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Avika. Good morning, Harriet. Good morning, Nathan. Good morning, Vera. Good morning, Kyra. Good morning. Thank you for all those people who pointed out. Good morning, Lorna. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning. In fact, good morning, all people. What you use the most is a good way of ordering them. I wonder what you do use the most. Imagining if you include school, I wonder how much printing you are using. Let's head back to the studio. And remember, a little reminder, I do this often because we're trying to get more interactive. The more work you send me, I love this. This was someone using a whiteboard at home to do the difficult thing from the one of the circle things yesterday. We're working out the possible area to keep the ibex in. Love seeing different ways people are working from home. Love it. The more you show me, the more I'll share with you. So let's simplify some expressions. We're going to, first of all, forget about algebra altogether, and we're just going to look at these chests. You just need to write down how many joules you think there are and how many chests you think there are. Note it down. You can quickly do that. If you're not watching this live, pause it, and then I'm going to tell you the answers. Remember, if it's a greyed out chest, it cancels out one of the chests. And if it's a greyed out or green gem, then it cancels out one of the gems. What's there on the top line? What's there on the second line? What's there on the third line? I don't know why I'm doing the countdown theme. Maybe it's because I'm desperately trying to compete with Carol Vorderman. Who knows? We've got 2 chests and we have got 12 gems. So it'd be 2 chests and 12 gems on the top line. The next one, we've got 2 chests, 12 gems, but we lost 2 chests, so it's just 12 gems. And the bottom one, we've got 11 gems, but we lose 4 of them, so we've got 7 gems and 1 chest. It will become clear why I've talked about chests and gems shortly. But for now, let me have a quick chat with you. Hoping this is me. So, when we're collecting gems and treasures, at no point did you think, a treasure box, that's another gem. Because it was very obvious to you that gems and treasure boxes were different things. Now, unfortunately, along the way, we have got some people who get very confused about the algebra things and what's going on there. As soon as we start thinking about algebra, what I think it helps to do is think about what I'm about to grab from over here. 2 seconds. I think it's very useful to think of these. A humble envelope. Because the reason letters are used in maths, the reason letters are used at all in algebra, is because if you imagine putting an amount of money in this envelope and not knowing how much you put in, this is an unknown amount. If, however, you know that all the white envelopes have got the same amount of money in them, you just can't remember whether you put a tenner in there or a £20 note in there, what you can then do is go, well, that one and that one have got the same amount in, so that's 2 white envelopes. But that's a brown envelope, and I know I put a different amount. I can't remember whether I put 5, 10 or 20 in it, but I know I put a different amount in the brown one to the white ones. So I've got 2 whites and a brown. I've got 2 more browns here. I don't know what's in them, but I do know that those 2 browns are the same as this brown. So we can group those together. I now have 3 browns and 2 whites. Notice how I'm grouping the things together that are the same. That is going to be very important for what we're about to do. Let's head over to somewhere where I can write stuff down and demonstrate what on earth I'm talking about. It is, of course, my whiteboard region. In the whiteboard region, we're going to start off without any letters. We're going to just start off with a simple idea of apples and oranges. They are my apples and oranges. If I have 3 apples and 4 oranges, I am hoping there is not one person watching this video who's thinking that's 7 apples and oranges. You can't add them together because one's apples and one's oranges. Therefore, if we call apples X and oranges Y, and that's just their price, we don't know what their price is, but we know that this is the price of apples and this is the price of oranges, we can also write down 3X and 4Y. None of the meaning has changed. It hasn't got harder because letters have been brought in. This is just the same as 3 apples and 4 oranges. Just because I've got an X instead of a picture of an apple, it doesn't change. Let me show you how I can use this to do some of the questions we're going to do today. If I've got 4 apples, and I hope you don't mind, but I'm not going to colour in the oranges, 5 oranges, 2 more oranges, and 3 more apples. And I add them all together. It makes sense that if I'm going to do this, I'm only going to add the apples together. So there's 4 apples and 3 more apples is 7 apples. And 5 oranges and 2 oranges is 7 oranges. So therefore, 4 apples and 3 apples makes the 7 apples. This must be what I've got. This is called an expression because it is just what I've got remaining. That is an expression. You cannot make them into anything simpler. You can't make them 14 apple oranges. Apple oranges aren't a thing. You can't have half an apple, half an orange. Therefore, these stay separate. So your answer sometimes has a plus in it. And this is different from when you were at primary school. You can't leave the plus in. So if you're year 7, year 8, and you're trying to remind yourself of how this all works, we also want to deal sometimes with minuses. And that's allowed too. I've got 9 apples. I'm sticking with my apples because hopefully it's all going to become very clear in a minute. And you're going to go, I can't believe I never understood that, because that makes so much sense. So we're sticking with our apples and oranges. And there's 1 orange there. Overall, I think that that is going to give me the apples first, 9 apples, and this is take away 2 apples. That minus belongs to the 2 apples. So it's still another one with 7 apples. The 7, I'm hungry for 7 apples. I am incredibly hungry. I'm still fasting until 10 minutes ago, but unfortunately I'm live teaching. That could have been where I was when I wasn't appearing, but unfortunately it was because I lost track of the time. It's the first time I've been genuinely late and not live streaming when I was supposed to be. I've been live streaming without turning it on, but I've not been late. This is why we've got 4 oranges take away and oranges, 3 oranges, and we can't combine them anymore. What's this got to do with algebra? Well, do you remember I said apples could be x and oranges could be y? This means if I ever saw this, 4x plus 5y plus 3x plus 2y, you have all the knowledge you need to do that. You don't need to worry, oh, it's a letters algebra, panicking. You just go, okay, well, I'll do the x's first, 7x, and the y's are 7y. Just like we had here. We can't add them together because they're different. Oh, well, that was quite straightforward. Well, what about if there's minuses? 9x plus 4y minus 2x minus a y. So I use the caterpillar method. That's 9x take away 2x is equal to 7x. And carry on my caterpillar. 4y take away a y is plus 3y. No messing around with minuses. No, oh, it's got a minus, it has to be... No, just calmly 4 take away 1. We've done lessons on negative numbers already, but this is just... And you can see why I call it a caterpillar, because I could make a little caterpillar like that. It's nice, and he's gonna go and eat some grubs. Don't know if they eat grubs, maybe they just eat leaves. Okay, that is algebra, but using apples and oranges to introduce what's going on. From this point on, I would imagine we don't need any more me to... I'm not trying to baby anyone, but we don't need me to explain it with apples and oranges. I always can. But if I'm asking you to do 10x's minus 4y minus 5x minus 2y, and I use again this caterpillar approach, blue caterpillar this time, 10x minus 5x is 5x. And minus 4, remember, this is where we link to our negatives. We've got our hot air balloon. We're starting at minus 4, and we're going down 2 more. Minus 2. So it's going to end up at minus 6y. Remember, just nice, neat hot air balloon. Looks pretty, doesn't it? You can see I'm not the best at art, but I'll give it a try. Okay, we are just breaking it down into simplifying our expressions. On the worksheet you've got at the end today, I have got it's chilies, so you decide how hot you want to go. You can start easy and get hotter. You can just go straight in for the hot ones. I'm sure if Lars is here, he'll work backwards and start with the harder ones. Hopefully that's making sense to people, what is going on here. I can see some people contributing to the chat, which is really, really good. Taking part on how this is all working. So the other thing I wanted to show you is what happens when we have a bracket. Lots of people freak out when they see a bracket. I'm about to show you there's no need. Sometimes I go to the algebra shops. Obviously the shops are closed at the moment, but when I go to the algebra shops, I collect baskets. So here's my 3 baskets, and in each of them I've got 2 x's and a 5. 2x and a 5. It's because because of the lockdowns. I've had to get some algebra for myself and my family. I've had to get some algebra from my mother-in-law and her husband, and I also had to get some for the next door neighbour because she can't go out. So I've had to pick up some algebra for everyone. I know I'm slightly silly. Okay. So we can see, hopefully, you can all see there must be 6 x's in total, all the way down here, and 5 and 5 and 5 is 15. But we've never talked about numbers being different from letters. But a number is not an envelope. Remember we talked about envelopes? If I just had a £5 note, that's different. I know it's a £5 note, so I keep numbers separate as well. So that's what I've got. So this must, we call it expanding. Expanding is getting rid of the brackets. This must expand to 6x plus 15. Therefore, it's 3 lots of 2x, because 2x, 2x and 2x, and 3 lots of 5. I would expect anyone who's in my classes, or anyone who's working with me, to draw the little arrows on, especially when you're first learning, to make sure you get it right. Draw the little lines. If you don't do it, oh, but I did it in my head. Do the things Mr. Harris does. I have a maths A-level, further maths A-level. I've redone my further maths A-level to make sure I got an A in it. And I've got maths at degree level. So if I'm still doing it, something should say to you, yeah, it's probably the way to do it. Okay? So when we're expanding the brackets, don't be put off by the fact it's brackets. Well, what about sir? Sometimes my teacher gives me some sir when it's minuses. Okay. Minus 5, 5x, minus 7. Well, this is like, remember we talked about minuses, if you did the negative lesson, this is like losing. I lose 5 lots of 5x. That just means I've lost 25x. I lose 5 lots of 7 bad things. Happy days, I'm losing bad things. So I'm going to gain 35 happiness because I've lost 5 lots of 7 bad things. Even with minuses, we can still expand the brackets. And all we do is we get rid of the brackets by building out and multiplying across the bracket. Is this making some sense? I hope it is. I hope that you're doing all right here and you're building up your skills. This should be some stuff here for year 7s, 8s and 9s. What I will do, just because some year 9s go, oh, but sometimes you don't do enough hard stuff. Okay, well, I can do harder stuff. We do one more. This time, what do I do if I have got 4 3x plus 5 plus 2 3x minus 4? Now this is the hardest we're going to get today. What we do is we're going to do our brackets, but we're only doing the number with the bracket it comes before. So I've got 2 different things. So do one at a time. 4 lots of 3x is 12x. 4 lots of 5 is 20. 2 lots of 3x is 6x. Remember, we're plussing 6x. But plus 2 lots of sadness is 8 lots of sadness. 2 lots of 4 sads is 8 sadness. So I've now got my caterpillar. We do 2 steps. Caterpillar says that there's 12x there and 6x there is going to give us 18x. And here, I'm going to have some square bits to this caterpillar. 20 take away 8 is plus 12. We can't combine letters and numbers because envelopes are not the same as £10 notes. I wish I had a £10 note. That's how little money I have at all in my house. So then all we're doing is we're simplifying our expressions. We expanded and simplified. So if you were doing a question like this, it would be called expand and simplify, because that is expanding, that is simplifying. Hopefully that's made sense. I haven't got any questions, okay, but hopefully we can see why it's not plus 5. You have to do, Andrew, thank you for joining in. I do appreciate it. You don't have to retract comments if they're incorrect. It's absolutely fine to put mistaken answers in because it helps people to learn from your mistakes, and you can learn, but other people will learn from that as well because they're not going to be brave enough to write comments in. 4 lots of 3x is 12x, but 4 lots of 5 is the 20. You have to remember to do it to both bits because remember when we were at the shops, in the algebra shops, there are 4 baskets here. And in those 4 baskets, they've each got 3x. which is where we get the 12x from, but they've also each got 5. A £5 note. Why I'm collecting £5 notes at the shops, I don't know. That's why it's plus 20 and not plus 5. Notice how there's no equals in the middle, so we carry on adding. There's not an equals because this is an expression, not a formula. We're not doing any equations, we're doing expression. I shouldn't really, I'm going to turn that into an arrow, because I don't really like using equals when it's not equations. If we turn that into an arrow, that's what that turns to. There is no equals here, it's not an equation. Today has all been about simplifying algebra. I hope if you are scared and nervous of algebra, this has helped. I hope if we go way back, you can, if you wanted to, you could watch the video again and again and again, listening to my terrible jokes and my silliness, but hopefully understanding what's going on. I hope it's made some sense. I'm sure you can use the chat and things to ask me questions if it hasn't, because that's the point of me. I'm here to answer questions. Please do ask questions if you're struggling with any of it. Use the comments below the video, then everyone can see them. And like I just said to Andrew, it's very useful if people come on here and ask me questions and say, look, sir, I don't understand how you got this at point 12 minutes and 32 seconds. How did you get that? This is not a form where you need to come on here to try and impress everyone with the answers. That's not what learning's about. The only people you're here for are you. I love it when people engage with me in the chat. I love it when people engage with each other. But you're not here to try and impress me with the answers. You're here to try and learn. And getting things wrong is actually better than getting things right, unless you're doing it on purpose. Because you're getting things wrong, you will learn from those mistakes. That's what I do. I learn from my mistakes. Some people don't learn from the mistakes. Weirdly, my wife is still married to me, even with this face. But we can't all learn from our mistakes. So, how am I finishing off today? Well, there's a simplifying expression worksheet, and I will remind you, I have not yet had any comments below yesterday's zoo animals video about what those animals eat. You need to do your research. How can I do a follow-up video next week on the animal feeding at the zoo and some of the other things we're going to be doing without you putting in the comments? Add to the comments below the video what each animal feeds. Do a different comment for each animal if you want, or whatever, but thank you for those people who've been commenting on the videos. Thank you for those people clicking like. It really means a lot, because the more people like it, the more people get to see it. I've got 64 people have joined this video at some point today, so that's awesome, especially as I started a bit late. Thank you so much for those people joining me. You are all awesome. I'm going to say hello. So is Panda. And until till tomorrow. It's not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Good Friday. Have a wonderfully Good Friday and a great Easter. And I will see you all. I will see you all on Tuesday. I will see you all Tuesday.